I often flew when I traveled across countries.
In the last year, between 5 to 10 flights.
21 flights in total.
Probably 8.
In recent decades, air travel has emerged from being a luxury to one of the most popular means of traveling. But what people often don't know is that flying is one of the most carbon-intensive activities an individual can engage in. And as the trend of flying is predicted to rise, the aviation industry could consume up to 1/4 of the total carbon budget by 2050.
I feel normal about flying. I know the environmental impact is there.
I think it's the best way to travel because it saves so much time.
I don't think there's anything wrong with flying. I think it's one of humans' greatest inventions.
I really try to avoid flying.
I feel a lot of shame around it, to be honest.
People feel different about flying. One narrative the media portrays is flight shame. And sometimes flight shame is also connected to the flight-free movement. However, the movement claims that shame doesn't make people give up flying for climate reasons. Instead, they want to encourage people to stay on the ground due to the climate impact of flying. Since shame originates from individuals feeling guilty about their behavior, flight shaming makes people feel bad about their flying habits. Flygskam, the Swedish word for flight shame, became a popular phenomenon in 2018, which contributed to the popularity of the flight-free movement.
The media has portrayed a narrative about shame and flight shame quite heavily. And this is not a narrative used by the flight-free movement, or at least not by the more organized part of the movement. They are not using shame as a strategy to achieve their goal. And this is also what has spread a lot to international media, so a narrative about shame has become symbolic for the Swedish movement to stay on the ground, even though this is not really a narrative used by the movement.
Personally, I don't like any kind of shaming. I don't think it's the most effective way of solving a problem. I think if you give a better alternative, that's the better way of solving a problem. So it is a movement that brings awareness, but I don't think it's necessarily the best way.
Psychologists have claimed that shaming is not always an effective way to change people's behavior. While feelings of guilt can lead to decisions to fly less, the narrative of shame can also make people feel powerless. In contrast, studies have shown that a narrative of encouragement can be more effective, as it motivates and empowers people to change their behavior.
Flight shame as a narrative has been in some way quite effective in placing the issue of air travel in relation to climate change under the spotlight. So in that way, flight shame has been effective, I would say.
The narrative of shaming used in the media brought awareness about the climate impact of flying, which is also the goal of the flight-free movement. Both the shaming and the encouraging narrative have an impact on people's perception of flying. So where does this leave us? Maybe we need another narrative that addresses structural change for people to fly less, whether they feel ashamed or encouraged.